college that I went to a few years after I graduated. I think 2 years after I graduated. There was another student there from here, and she put out the call, and I had actually just worked on a play about Rwanda in New York, and I saw the email and I thought, I would love to go there, I would love to see it, and so I emailed, and the rest is history, I guess. I came and I really enjoyed working on it, and I kept coming. Do you know that feeling where you just vibe?
Yeah.
I think it's like that. I came here and I just really enjoyed it, and I met friends, and I had a good time working on the festival. I met so many interesting people from here and from around the world, and I had such a good time interacting with people and designing for people and seeing their art. And I think my favorite thing about lighting design is like seeing people's work and getting to like amplify the things that I love about it. So it was a really special opportunity for me. When you meet people from different places, people who have very different backgrounds than you, and you can still find things to relate to them about, I feel like that really helps you reach like the core of who we all are together. So I think it's like the coming together of so many different people, and even people who come from a similar place, finding like the similarities between you, I think and the differences, and like being able to relate or express yourselves. I think that's really like the core of the humanity that this festival creates and highlights.
My Ubumuntu story is I met this wonderful woman called Hope Azeda about 5 months before Ubuntu was born in Ireland. And the two of us were two, young women theatre directors, and we met at this conference, and she told me her dream of starting a festival, and I told her my dream of a theatre project that I wanted to do. And we had no money. We were just two women with big ideas, and we thought, why don't we help each other? And 5 months later, she had this festival, and my theatre project that I had proposed to her had become a collaboration between Rwanda and Sri Lanka, and that opened the festival. And I mean, I've been here every year since. There's no money in this. And why else would you sort of dedicate your life, sometimes your health, your time, to something that doesn't reap some kind of benefit? And I've, not just myself, but I've seen countless number of people transformed by acting, by even sometimes by just watching theatre. But the people, of course, that go through the deepest transformation, I think, are the artists themselves, because it's not so easy to be transformed just by watching plays. But when you live, when you breathe it, when you return every day to the rehearsal room, when your primary intention in life is to look at the world and see what's not there, or see what is disturbing, and then turn it into something beautiful that makes people think. I mean, if that is your mandate as a human being, I mean, I can't think of a higher calling than that, really. So of course, it's right at the heart of transforming pain into something beautiful.
So I grew up in social projects. I grew up on the streets. So I come from poverty. I know what means death inside of the house. I know what means poverty on the table. And through art, I could see a new world. I could get a new perspective of life. I got new knowledge. I started to question myself why I'm here. Now, why this? Why I'm feeling this? And since I was a kid, I started to bring my friends together. I built circles, a tent circles on the backyard of my mother with leftover of circles that came into the neighborhood. And then I would go to the circles that just arrived in my neighborhood, and I would learn just by watching everything they would do on stage. And I didn't have money to pay, but I became friends of them, of the clowns, to watch. And then I would come back home, I wait them to go away, and then I would take the leftovers like piece of ropes, piece of plastics, tent, and I would build my own tent, teach my cousins some tricks from the circus, and I would invite the whole community to just watch. And I was 8 years old. For there, it was the moment that I experienced transformation through art, without knowing that that was art. That I was just playing with something that has enchanted me, that has touched me, you know, by seeing that people that live in poverty coming together for a moment, laughing, being together, looking into each other's eyes. And for me, this was something that stayed with me for long. And then at school, I went to school as well, and then I started to join the drama school. And also, I started to be very active at school. And then I discovered dance. And then through dance, I made my way. I got to become a teacher in a social project.
Today is our Tech Day, where we illuminate the future through the lens of art, science, and limitless possibilities of technology. We hope that you enjoy the journey today. So for our first performance tonight, we are going to unveil Technology, a Boundless Art, a dance piece that transcends the conventional boundaries of science and invites us into the vibrant world of artistic expression through technology. Directed by the visionary Ishema Blessing Gianna and performed by the talented artists of Rwanda Coding Academy, this performance promises to challenge perceptions and inspire minds. Enjoy the show.
Can I start? Yeah. In the dust of mankind, we can find man lacking of knowledge, hungry to learn and find. Over the course of time, discoveries were not absent. Nevertheless, were they underappreciated. Take instance, the stone, the amusement, the fascination flowed through them all at the sight of the discovery. One discovery only became the first of its chain, for it paved the way for many more discoveries. Fire. A bright red flame, not only warming the coldest of nights and corners, but this fire also signified a hope, a passion to find more and know more.
kugenda ahandi tugiye kwicara tugende. Niko turi buzamure.
Over different walks of life and time periods, many more discoveries were being birthed.
Twagiye. Zamura amurezi. Marie.
A prominent discovery was the discovery of writing. Writing marked the beginning of modern-day knowledge and learning. This discovery was remarkable. It was fascinating. The Egyptians, they had done it. They had marked a huge milestone for us.
My queen.
My people, come and see.
Each one of these discoveries was a light. This light illuminated us from the darkness, from ignorance to knowledge and understanding. This light impacted many from all sides, all corners, all paths. But the bigger light was science. Science was the bigger light. Science is a vast realm. It covered the origins of the very earth we walk, the life we cherish, and the nature that surrounds us. Science gave order to the light of the world. Science gave order to the light of the world. Science gave the unorderly thoughts a sense of unification and direction. Science was like a compass. Science, however, fell short. So science needed technology. Technology gave reasoning and order to the light of the world. Technology uplifted science. Technology uplifted science. Technology. 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 In a world where technology is the ultimate puzzle, imagine each innovation and breakthrough as a twist of the Rubik's Cube. Just as the cube's colorful faces represent a complex yet solvable challenge, the realm of technology is an ever-evolving enigma that captivates the minds of the curious and the bold. Both demand patience, strategy, and the relentless pursuit of mastery. This is the story of how technology, much like the Rubik's Cube, tests our intellect, fuels our passion, and transforms our perspective with every twist and turn. The first face of the Rubik's Cube is green. Green represents life. Green breathes life into our world, a testament to technology's power to nurture and sustain. Imagine a city where smart technologies manage everything from energy to waste, optimizing resources to ensure a sustainable future. Green is the life force of innovation, supporting humanity through advancements that ease our burdens and enhance our lives. Just as an artist brings a canvas to life with each brushstroke, technology infuses our world with vitality, creating a symphony of growth and progress. The next face of the Rubik's Cube is blue. Blue stands as the pillar of stability. Blue is the conservative force that grounds us in tradition and in reliability. Picture a serene harbor where ships of data are anchored safely, their journeys guided by the steadfast hands of time-tested protocols. In the tech world, blue is the unwavering guardian. It ensures that progress is built on a foundation of trust and security. This conservative approach, much like a meticulously crafted sculpture, preserves the integrity of our digital landscapes, allowing us to explore new horizons with confidence. The next face is yellow. Yellow represents happiness. Yellow radiates joy, illuminating the moments when technology brings happiness into our lives. Think of the elation when a piece of code finally runs, the sheer joy of seeing your creation come to life. This burst of happiness is similar to the warm glow of sunlight on a masterpiece, a reminder that technology, like art, evokes powerful emotions. Each successful solution, each breakthrough sparks a wave of contentment and drives us to reach further. It creates a ripple effect of positivity to everyone it reaches. The next face is red. Red symbolizes boldness and persistence. Picture a fearless inventor, tirelessly working late into the night, driven by the passion to perfect their creation. Red is the embodiment of boldness and persistence, the fiery determination that propels us to overcome challenges. In the realm of technology, red symbolizes our courage to innovate, to take risks, and to persevere through failures. It's the unyielding spirit that turns ideas into a reality. Much like an artist's relentless pursuit of their vision, refining each detail until it resonates with brilliance, it represents determination to get up and perfect our art daily. The next face is orange. Orange bursts forth with creativity, the vibrant energy that fuels our imagination. Envision a dynamic studio where artists blend colors and shapes into stunning works of art. Similarly, in technology, orange represents the creative spark that transforms our ordinary concepts into extraordinary innovations. It's the brainstorming sessions, it's the late night coding marathons, and the aha moments that lead us to groundbreaking discoveries. Tech, like art, thrives on creativity, thriving to constantly push the boundaries of what we know is possible. The next face is white. White represents hope and inclusivity. White is like an empty canvas, awaiting the vibrant colors of diverse experiences and perspectives. It's the embodiment of hope, inclusivity, welcoming new faces, new ideas, and endless possibilities. Technology is like this blank canvas. Technology has no limits and yearns for contributions from all backgrounds. Imagine a vast open field where people from every corner of the globe gather, each bringing their unique hue to the collective masterpiece. In this collective masterpiece, innovation flourishes, and every voice is heard, painting a future rich with diversity and boundless potential. In this story, technology is not just a tool, but also an art form, each color adding depth and dimension to our shared human experience. Through the lens of these colors, we see that tech is a dynamic and evolving canvas, continuously enriched by the creativity, passion, resilience of those who wield it. Thank you. Okay. In addition to this masterpiece, we also made another masterpiece on the side. It's a virtual gallery, 10 years represented in 10 rooms by the Rwanda Coding Academy team.
Je viens vers vous comme l'esprit de l'humanité, mélodie.
eventually, if I do say so. Teach my boys and sisters what I didn't know. Keep my heart and soul from ever being cold. That's the only way our truth will be told. Eventually, if I do say so. Maybe not today, but maybe kesho. Zahora nuru muri gwejo. Mana humeza mururu jendo. Mururu jendo. Mana humeza mururu jendo.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and enthusiasts of the boundless realm of technology, we are journeying into another insightful session. Our creative discourse delves into the intersection of arts, science, and technology. Moderated by the insightful Dela Dube, a wonderful poet hailing all the way from Zimbabwe. Let's give a round of applause for Dela Dube, our moderator for this evening. Join us as we explore how these seemingly disparate fields converge and shape our future. Engaging in this dialogue are our esteemed guests, Odei Bud, co-founder of the project Sufuri, pioneering the fusion of fashion and technology. Chris Manzi, the co-founder of Wear Fragile, a trailblazer in street art and multimedia. And Denise Agahozo, a narrative psychology practitioner whose passion for storytelling enriches our understanding of human experience. Enjoy the show.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, young people. Woo! Let me hear you make some noise, please. I am ecstatic about today because in the history of Ubumuntu Arts Festival, this year we are celebrating the intersection of art, science, and technology, and it is a youth takeover. All day, we have been exploring our talents and manipulating technology to really highlight what it means to be human. We started off the day with a workshop, a 3D modeling workshop and design thinking at Makerspace, where we learned how to prototype solutions to the different challenges faced by young people. We then moved on to the Veom Theater, where we had a virtual reality exhibition showcasing the art of an interesting street art brand called Wear Fragile in collaboration with Calais from Congo. And we also had activities outside on a basketball court, including skateboarding, rap battles, dancing, screen printing, and live painting. And now we conclude in this ceremonial space looking at different plays that really showcase the intersection of art, science, and technology. It is my honor at this moment to be joined by three amazing people who have really taken a part of their youth and energy to challenge the status quo and create solutions and innovations that will set the pace for the next 10, 20, 30 years. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for staying up until this point. And our esteemed panelists, thank you so much for being a beacon of light for the future. I'm going to pose the first question to Denise, who is a narrative psychologist. When we first spoke was actually the first time I heard of this term, and it might be the first time for many of us in this audience. So I'm just going to start off by asking Denise, what is narrative psychology, and what has your impact been in this space?
Thank you so much. And hello to everybody here. I'm so honored to be here. And so one thing I would like to correct, I am a narrative practitioner. And what narrative therapy is a form of psychology that looks at humans as an accumulation of stories. These stories can be the ones we tell ourselves. They can be stories that come from the outside. They can be in different shapes and sizes. And a lot of times, these stories can be negative. For example, you can tell yourself that I am not good enough, I am not powerful enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not whole. And these stories can take over your life. What narrative therapy wants to do is to illuminate the other stories in a person's life. You are not just one story, you're an accumulation of multiple stories. And it does so in a non-blaming, in a just way that takes into account all the ways humans exist in the world. That's political, that is social, that is in all kinds of ways. And it's very story-oriented, yeah. And my impact with it is that I work with an organization called BBI, Blossom Bridge Initiative, which works with teen mothers, the LGBTQ community in Rwanda, as well as sex workers. And the importance of narrative therapy in these spaces is that it respects the reality. It respects that their stories are a lot more different than ours, and a lot of the times these stories come from the outside and they're very damaging. So what we hope to do is to give back their power into deciding what kind of stories their lives are going to be about. And in doing so, we do it in a multitude of ways. We can use art, we can use writing, we can use poetry, whatever comes closest to expressing yourself. And that is what narrative therapy is, at least, yes, in my words.
Thank you, Denise. And what has been the most common medium used to communicate some of these stories?
That is an interesting question. With something like therapy or support groups, a lot of the times it's happening in person. We are talking together and I'm hearing the stories from the mouths of the people that they belong to. When it comes to mediums, there is a lot of the times it's with letters, with words written on paper, which I guess to a certain extent is not very technological, but it's very expressive. And in doing so, we can collect these letters and these stories, and we can even make them digital and accessible to different platforms. And there's platforms being created today that has collected stories from different parts of the world through narrative therapy that people can look at. For example, I can look at a story and relate to somebody in Australia, even though we have drastically different lives. So it's all about connectivity and through letters and through sharing one's stories. So it is writing. It can be both digital and it can also be physical.
Wow, that's great to hear. From what I understand, the essence of storytelling is held high in your practice. And it's interesting I'd be interested to hear from the other panelists who are more into technology, how collaborations can erupt from this conversation going forward. I'm going to move on to C. Well, we call C, but his official name is Chris. Chris is the co-founder of a street art multimedia hub, and they, as Fragile, contributed largely to the virtual reality exhibition that we had earlier today. And the question I have for you, Chris, is, street art has a powerful voice in communities. How can integrating street art with digital media contribute to peace building and social cohesion among youth?
All right, thank you so much. I'll first introduce myself. My full name's Manzi Chris, and I'm a creative. I'm also a co-founder of We Are Fragile, which is a street brand and a skateboarding community brand. So that is a good question, because street art, for me, like, is something that I live every day. So, like, bringing all these artists together every day with different perspectives, different ideas on all these diverse artists together, it means like street art is powerful. So like for it to be integrated with digital tools, it means like we have nowadays the technology is being so advanced, and we have like new digital platforms every day. So we use these Instagram, YouTube, just like to promote our art. So it's something that we use. We need more digital platforms, but something we use just like to express ourselves, our narratives, our perspectives, and share all these positive ideas, and like having all these artists in a safe space that is peace. And also like having all these digital platforms presented to us, it's a way of us like implementing and exposing ourselves to our beliefs and everything that we do.
One thing I admire about We're Fragile is the community that you and your co-workers have been able to build. How have you leveraged technology to build and strengthen that community?
That's what I've just said. It's a community, and it has different individuals, and from these individuals, everybody is free to create whatever they want to create that goes with our identity. So technology, I've said we use all these digital platforms. We use Instagram, we use YouTube. So whenever we create something that we think is powerful and it's innovative and it has a message, we use those platforms. So that's something that been enabling us to strengthen our brand and also exposing it.
Still on the topic of community building, I'm going to shift it to Odeibud, who is the co-founder of a fashion tech company called Project Sufuri. Project Sufuri has done a lot of work using technology, including augmented reality, but then also work that impacts the larger community of people who have been in the fashion industry before technology was even as boisterous as it is now. So what initiatives are you using to help bring people who are not as tech savvy into the tech fashion world?
Thank you for that question. It's a very interesting one. I think it has to start off by addressing how we started as Sufuri. So it's a very personal journey for me personally. We recognized early on that in the creative sector, creatives really focus on the arts more than the business side of things. And as someone who wasn't involved in the creative industry and whose work was impact focused, my business partner was really the one who helped to guide me through the creative process. And what we realized for the fashion industry was that the manual processes were really hindering the vibrant spirit of African fashion. So I think we've all experienced sort of the magic and the beauty of getting something custom made for a gusaba or a wedding or something like that, right? But it is a logistical nightmare, trying to get the fabrics, trying to get the right tailor, trying to communicate with everyone in a timely manner. So for us, it was about creating the technologies that would help these fashion entrepreneurs to manage their businesses more efficiently while also integrating technology in the creative side of things. So that's why we include augmented reality as a part of our fashion shows and exhibitions. One project that we're really excited about is the Tungamadozi initiative, which sort of looks at it holistically and realizes that, yes, in Rwanda, there are fashion entrepreneurs who might be more tech savvy, like you mentioned, but there are also people who are creative who might live outside Kigali, who might not have access to these resources and these tools. So what we're working with, who we're working right now is Rwanda Women's Network. And what they're doing is they're partnering with us to support their group of sewing cooperatives to be able to access these tools and resources at their level. So we work with trainers who have been used to technology for a while We work with the soaring cooperatives to be able to give them the right resources and tools and nudge them in a way that's sort of focused on their pace and their growth learning in order for them to be able to grow and scale their businesses, not only in their local communities, but even internationally one day. So it's about bringing the resources and tools to these communities rather than to expect them to adapt over time.
Thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to once again highlight the theme of Ubumuntu Arts Festival this year, which is integrity. And I believe integrity is a very important part of leadership, and because everyone here on this panel is a leader in their own right, paving the way for the future. So I'm going to pose this question to all three of you. Really want to understand, in the rise of technology and the way communication has changed, the way we receive information and process information, how do you make sure you stay integral in the way you practice your art in the different fields?
If I could answer that, this world is fast moving. With the technological advancements we're seeing, everything becomes a lot faster. And with that, our ambitions grow as well. So I feel like in the mental health world, to be a person with integrity, it means to not put your curiosity and your ambition above the calling to help. So the only way that I know how to keep my integrity when it comes to working is that I understand that I am an individual with my own wants and my own goals. And I can be curious to an extent. However, I try to keep the notion of justice in my head and the notion of community in my head, so that even though I have my own goals and I'm seeing the world changing and I'm embracing it as well, I learned that to do so is to also impact people's lives. So I'll try to do so in a just way. So that means communicating everything that I'm doing and also helping the people that I'm working with to move alongside me and not me moving past them, if that makes any sense. That was the only way that I know how to stay integral in my work.
I will also add to our point. For me, I think integrity is being honest. I think it's honesty. So I keep my integrity in my work, as in like keeping efficient communication and staying true to myself, and like being so effective with the communication that I have with my partners, my clients, and everything that I put there. If I can merge this with technology, like I couldn't put anything online that is not true. So keeping my integrity is keeping it honest.
I think for us at Safori, we have a very sort of human-centered approach when it comes to integrity. So for example, ensuring that the people that we're working with are fairly compensated. In the creative sector, the work is often very undervalued, and therefore people are very underpaid. So building into our contracts the right compensation for everyone on the team, from the hairstylist to the makeup artist to the models, is a part of us keeping our integrity and respecting their work, because we can't make it happen without them. So that's one side of it, the human-centered approach. And then the other side of it is creative integrity. So if we're coming onto the scene and we're saying that we want to integrate technology and we want to be as creative as possible, then we have to be creatively integrated. Like, we have to be you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, we have to sort of adhere to integrity in a creative way, meaning we have to push boundaries. So for example, using augmented reality in our fashion exhibitions is one way that we push boundaries, something that's never been done in Rwanda before. And we want to keep pushing boundaries because we want to be the sort of centerpiece of creativity from a fashion perspective in this country and provide something that has never been experienced before. So it's about creating integrity in a way that's also creative but also human-centered.
And while I still have you, Ode, what are two other values that you hold dear and you try to practice as much as you can as a young person in a leadership position?
I guess the first one would be sort of personal accountability. As you mentioned, I am young, which means that I don't have all the answers, but I can find the answers. And working with people definitely helps to expose me to different situations in which I have learning opportunities. So recognizing that I might not be as knowledgeable as certain topics and having the vulnerability to say, I need support, I need help. So personal accountability is one of them. But also with communication, as C mentioned, is also very important. There tends to be a lack of timely productivity in the creative sector. So being able to adequately and efficiently communicate with all partners involved in a project is very important. Even for me, personally with my team, we make sure that we try to communicate as regularly and often as possible to ensure that we deliver things on time.
Moving on to C. As we move into the future, it is important to acknowledge our past and the lessons that we have learned from our predecessors. So I'm curious to know, what is the best piece of advice you received when you were starting your own initiative from someone who has been in the industry before you?
The best advice that I ever got is, please never stop this thing that you're doing. That's the best advice that I've, because if I stop, then I wouldn't get where I want to be. So I think that's the best advice I've ever got from a creative that's been there before me.
Thank you for sharing. I'm sure that's something we can all learn from, knowing that it's not easy being a pioneer. It's not easy being the first of your kind to do something. This, I think, is something that we should all embody. Please, let's keep the fire burning. Moving on to Denise. I'm curious to know, what are some of the observations you've made in the way young people versus old people interact with the programs or the way of delivering therapy that you do? Understanding that there is a generational gap at times, how do you think young people and old people are receptive towards your work, and do you think there's a point of intersection?
Wow, that is a great question. I think it's a debate that is being had now more than ever in the mental health world, especially in the context of Rwanda. I'm sure you all know our history, especially the history of the building we're standing in right now. When it comes to matters of mental health, there is still this aversion that people have, this closed offness that they have, especially with the older generation, where speaking about your problems is not the easiest thing to do. And as well as the younger people, they might be a bit more receptive, but there is always that element of not knowing what happens behind closed doors with a therapist. So I believe that that, in a sense, is where they all meet together, is that, that fear and the discomfort that comes with it. And so I feel like to be able to bridge that gap is to understand the rawness of therapy, is to understand that it is a scary process, and it is a very foreign process. I feel like it's a new word we're learning currently. I've learned it in the past maybe 10 years, the word mental health, even psychology itself. So it is a foreign concept. So I believe the best way to bridge that gap is to deliver it in a way that they can understand it, and that is not as scary, as sciencey, and as foreign sounding. So that is in the language we use. That is in letting somebody describe depression as like something like that, something that's heavy, letting them describe their own words. And in terms of younger people, the best way to deliver it, I feel like that they enjoy the most, is through arts and through technology. Actually, they really enjoy videos and animation. They really enjoy that because they get to be represented in a way that they haven't been before. So if you look at a cartoon of a cartoon child who looks like you, has brown skin, has your hair texture, it helps demystify the process of therapy and the process of mental health. If you see a cartoon or an illustration that is in Kinyarwanda, that helps us demystify the whole thing. And in terms of adults, is having a conversation in language they understand and allowing them the grace to be wrong or to be scared, and just letting them exist in this way. I hope that answered your question, but that was, yeah.
Yes, it has answered my question and also sparked another question. I always find it interesting when people say mental health is a foreign concept, but since you deal with storytelling, and storytelling has been a way in which knowledge and wisdom has been passed on from generation to generation, especially in our African culture, looking at some of the texts and resources of old, do you think there are ways in which mental health, or the importance of mental health, has been discussed by our elders in a way that might be different from how it is now, but do you think there are lessons we can get from older stories, adages, proverbs that speak to the importance of having good mental health.
That is perfect. I get very excited about this topic. But yes, there is. When I say mental health is a foreign concept, I mean the word itself. I don't mean the idea of it. So as much as you know, a lot of our history as African nations is spoken. It's through stories, it's through migani, it's through idioms, right? So even mental health, even the idea of kugani that we're discussing, has always been a part of Rwandan culture. Healing is a part of Rwandan culture, and culture is a healing thing as well. So stories are a great way. There's even a lot of stories or idioms, I guess, that are for healing. For example, like there is like a rock that's exposed will not hurt the hoe, like as in the cultivation tool. This is like words you hear all the time people say. Even when we are in spaces, we're talking about mental health in more rural areas, they will give you these healing words themselves. And they have been like your great-grandmother would know them, the same way that a child in a certain village would know them. These are healing words, and these are ways we have used to heal. So it's not exactly a foreign concept fully, it's just the words we're using now. It's these words of giving diseases names and giving things like that that are foreign. But Rwandans have always talked about the weight of their emotions. I believe our current history is what made it a bit harder, but I feel like that has always been in our culture. It just have looked different. It's been through stories, through songs, through just different things, yeah.
I love that proverb, the rock that is exposed will not hurt the hoe. Does anyone know how to say that in Kinyarwanda? Yes? I'd love to hear it in Kinyarwanda if there's anyone who knows. Yes, okay. Can I borrow your mic, please? Yes.
In Kinyarwanda it is ibuye ryagaragaye niriba rikishe isuka.
Do the elders agree? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, we're learning so much tonight.
Can you repeat that?
Oh, I cannot repeat that. I can't even say it in my mother tongue. But thank you so much. I think we're going to post that on our social media captions tonight and tell the whole world about it. So while we still have the audience's attention, I'm going to ask if anyone has a question for our panelists. Remembering that we have young people who are pioneering art, science, and technology in different ways. They are people who clearly have their values intact. If you're curious to know anything about narrative therapy or street art technology or fashion and tech, this is an opportunity to ask these questions. So anyone from the audience who has a question, please feel free to ask. Going once. Oh, there's a question? Oh, fantastic.
Thank you. I'll be specific on the street arts to know. So I'm not a English speaker, so my apologize for that. I'd like to know what is the intersection about art and the street art.
Say the word.
Please repeat your question.
I don't know if it's clear or is how I'm thinking about. I'd like to know what is the intersection in English. Okay.
Wait.
So you're asking for the difference between street art?
No. The liaison, something to connect.
The intersection.
Connection
The intersection
between.
about.
I think art is a wide thing. It's like, let's say like it's a world. So street art is a portion of that. It's something under the whole image of art.
Thank you.
Satisfied?
Yeah, how can people can try to experiment? Okay, that's street art through technology.
To experiment street art through technology, first of all, is being interested in street art. So if you get interested, then you will get curious. If you get curious, then you approach people like us who do that. So that's all you have to do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kale. Thank you for your question. There's another question. All right. Please say your name.
Oh, thank you. I am God. My question is directed to Denise. You talked about narration, psychology, something like that. Yeah, I enjoyed that topic specifically. But in Africa, or specifically in Rwanda, therapy and mental health is considered something like taboo somehow. Like, if you say, I'm going through therapy, someone is going to say you are mad or out of your mind, or something is seriously bothering you. So how do you practice that? Firstly, like the narration psychology, and how is it perceived? Like, are you visited by people in person? Like, yeah, I'd like to know more. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a great question. So it is true that therapy is perceived very different in Rwanda. It is perceived as a foreign problem or as something of madness. And when I practice this, I practice it in communities that don't always have access to mental health. So I'm usually the first person to come here and tell people about these things. The beauty about narrative therapy is that it is non-blaming, and it is not as filled with as much scientific jargon, for example. We're not going to diagnose you with a disorder. What we're going to do is handle your story. So it's more like a conversation than in like a doctor's visit, if that makes sense. And a lot of therapy is like that too. It's just with narrative therapy, I am meeting you where you are. So if I'm going to, let's say I'm in a group session and somebody's struggling to tell me their problem. And with today's developments with social media and access to knowledge, somebody will come to you telling you, like I have depression. But you don't even know their names, or you don't even know their stories yet. The best thing to do then is to walk them back from that diagnosis and understand why they believe that. What is your story? Tell me about yourself. And we understand, the multitudes of ways they exist. It is a conversation, and it's much more comfortable for Rwandans because we use a lot of metaphors and we use a lot of naming of things. So they get to name their problems there. So it seems it's a more collaborative approach, and so it's a lot easier to digest because I'm meeting you where you are. If that makes sense, yes. That is my answer.
Thank you so much. As we come to the end of this panel, I'm going to ask just a question that requires a brief answer from all three of you. What do you believe is the future of art, science, and technology through the lens of the fields that you are currently working in? I think we can give Ode the chance to start this time.
Yeah, well, for me, the integration of art and technology really comes from the community building. So as I'm also the head of Safuri, I'm studying my master's in global markets and local creativities. And one of the concepts that I came across was innovation diffusion, which basically means that you're taking technologies that exist maybe only in the US or Europe or Asia for now, and you're really spreading it across the globe to underserved communities. So really getting the opportunity for people to experience this at any level where they are, right? So for me, technology is definitely a medium for people to be able to connect all over the world, to be able to collaborate, to be able to experiment all over the world. So what I would like to see personally for my industry is to get a sense of culture and art from underserved communities using technology, which is why I'm so excited for the projects that we're about to do with the Women's Network and the Social Cooperative. Because yes, there's talent, yes, there's creativity everywhere in the world, but who has access to it? Who's gatekeeping? Who is really supporting these communities that are not getting the attention and the light that they deserve? So for me, I would love to see more technology integrated in fashion design, fashion entrepreneurship as well, with process efficiencies, but for underserved communities.
Okay, I think for me, I believe it's yin and yang. It has the good and the bad in the future. Because nowadays there's introduction of AI and all these other artificial intelligence tools. So I think it's gonna easy the work of creativity, like it's going to easy the way, like resources are going to be not so much needed in the future, maybe, because sometimes you can just like prompt something and create it. But I think it's also going to limit, could I say, like the originality and the pureness of being creative. So for me, I think this technology, it's good that it's advancing, but it also has the bad effect of it. So in the future, I think things are going to be easy to access, and also the reach of the creative work that we create, because people are getting access to smartphones everywhere, even in rural areas. But on the other side, I think it might put you in a comfort zone.
It's a very interesting opinion. Thank you for sharing.
My hopes are two. It's knowledge and inclusivity. I'm hoping that with access to technology, we get access to more knowledge and more ways of practice. And I also hope that we find a way to represent ourselves in mental health. For example, sharing our stories in Rwanda about what mental health looks like, sharing creative projects, kind of like how you guys are doing it, just allowing us to be seen in an easier way. That is my hope for this.
Thank you so much. So just to synthesize everything, making technology more inclusive for people in the fashion industry, to make sure that people are connected, different walks of life in different countries and different regions, and then also enhancing the creative output in terms of reducing the need for expensive tools and equipment to make sure that we can create more efficiently and faster, but then also being aware of the danger of manipulating technology to create without any novelty or originality. And then lastly, making technology more inclusive and using it as a platform for people to share their experiences and hopefully heal the world one click at a time. So thank you so much to our panelists for being amazing, being honest, and sharing a bit about your practice. I'm going to assume that this means you're open to continuing the conversation after this panel. So thank you also to the audience for staying attentive, being interactive. This is only the beginning, and we hope to see more and more of creative currents, art, science, and technology for all the years to come. It gave me so much joy to see the children come up on stage before anyone told them to and just claim it, because truly we are the future. So thank you so much. Please enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you to our panelists. Please, one last round of applause for all of them. Until we meet again, good night. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
never give up his nuclear weapons, according to a former senior officer in North Korea's spy agency, Colonel Kim Kuk-song.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today, the government of Libya announced the death of Muammar Gaddafi. This marks the end of a long and painful chapter.
as we navigate the evolving landscape of our shared world.
No, guys, wait. Wow. When we digitize, we create a reality that extends beyond the physical realm. Metaphysical, meta-real. And I feel empowered to tell my story, duplicating and recreating, virtual but real nonetheless.
From the living soil, I am born. Born from a breeze and the sun. I am born from 1,000 songs and 1,000,000 others. I am born from the morning song of the birds. From the dew on the morning plants, I am born. Sculpted from clay and mud and sunlight, I am made from the dust of the ground. I am sculpted from the ancient trees, from falling leaves. I am sculpted from the rising mountains. I am the calm in the morning. I am the breeze in the evening. And my story's in the ground, the roots, up in the sun, and in the clouds, in the clouds, in the clouds. And out of that ground, my sprout raises to the earth. And out of that song is my reality, for I am nature incarnate.
With technology, we rise. We put into creation our thoughts and our wildest dreams. Even with the challenges we face, we are able to create systems that analyze and decode.
And the fire of the million suns, it consumes the ground. Climate change, the death of my land. We had beauty across all lands. My land was a landscape on paintings, on canvases, millions and millions ahead. But now, like a fire brewing within my system, I am melted on the ground, on the fire that you created. Now I stand. I fight and I bleed in the fire. The water that gave you life is now consuming the coastlines, consuming you, bringing down your buildings. And I'm forced to suffer this endless cry, this endless fire on my skin. This mat that made your trees grow now bears nothing at all. Nothing within, nothing in the sky anymore but ashes. You plant trees and they turn to wood, firing up the lamps again and again. Nothing is left in this earth. I'm forced to watch day after day after day after day after day after day, and I'm forced to kneel in your ashes again and again. But in your death I will live. In your death I'll suffer, I'll cry, and in the death of it all I'll stay.
We have identified the challenges faced by Mother Nature, and it is our duty to create solutions that will bridge the gap between nature and technology, to make solutions for all. We hear you, We feel you.
Solutions after solutions. Now we're forced to live in this dirt of inequality. Nothing left but me to face the darkness. Nothing but inequality. And in the soil that we plant again, the future was never in technology. It was in the land that you walked, the land that you walked. And again, we plant more trees, we grow our future. But our future is not there. Or perhaps it is. But I have yet to see it. I have yet to see you. The future lies here. Perhaps I would give it a try. I'll listen again. I'll pray again. Try again. Let me try again.
We must join forces and find a way to create solutions that bring us together.
Together? Perhaps it's together. Maybe my endless sun will give us life.
And maybe my systems and nodes will connect us.
Perhaps, but we've seen it again. The torture that this land gives, that your future holds. Do you not see it? The constant toil of man, of nature, the pain again and again. You've seen it.
Do you believe in acceptance, in evolution? Do you believe in connectivity? Perhaps we can find sustainable solutions, but all man must enter the conversation. Will you call upon your people?
I'll look past it. The future was never truly ours in the first place, but together, the future is together.
The future is ours.
Systems, roots, suns, again and again. Systems, roots, suns, systems, roots, suns, systems, roots, suns, systems, roots, and suns, systems, roots, and suns.
Come, connect with us. Look at what the future could be if we all embraced the unity between nature and technology.
Systems, roots, and suns.
When we digitize, we create a future that extends beyond the physical realm. Metaphysical, meta-real, virtual, but real nonetheless.
This is the future. Thank you. Yeah, so before we step off, we'd like to give a very important shout out to our great choreographer and stage director, Jihad. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for us today and what you've given us throughout the week. A shout out to Vivian for all the help she's given us today, and also Mokalad for all the interesting ideas he's given to us. So thank you so much. We couldn't have done this without you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being with us here in our Creative Currents Day. Tonight, we have celebrated the harmony of creativity and innovation, where technology is not merely a tool, but a canvas for boundless artistic expression. And tomorrow, we will be back here for the Literature Day. We'll be starting at 2 p.m. with the different conversations, and then we'll have an audio installation with 25 stories, and conclude with a poetry night, which will be headlined by Kivumbi King. Thank you so much for coming this evening, and have a good night.